For hundreds of years, Korean kings and queens lived surrounded by luxury, power, and political intrigue. But behind every royal meal, behind every dish served in the grand halls, there were people whose stories were almost completely erased from history. Today, we reveal the untold life of Korea's palace chefs, the culinary masters who shaped royal cuisine, protected secret recipes, and influenced Korean food culture more than anyone else. These are the stories you will never find in school textbooks. Inside the Joseon Dynasty's palaces existed a massive cooking complex known as the Sura-gan, the royal kitchen. It was far more than a simple kitchen, it was a world of its own. Between 200 and 500 workers, including chefs, food preparers, fermenters, and servants, operated non-stop. Why? Because every single meal for the king had to be fresh, safe, perfectly balanced, and prepared according to incredibly strict rules. Palace chefs worked from before sunrise until late at night. They were not allowed to make mistakes. Even a small error could be seen as an insult to the king or worse, a threat to his safety. The pressure was immense, and the royal kitchen truly never slept. So, who could become a palace chef? Well, becoming one was extremely difficult. Most were women from the lowest class recruited in their teenage years. But once they entered the palace, their lives changed forever. Training lasted for years, and it was brutal. They had to memorize thousands of ingredient combinations, complex seasonal cooking rules, medicinal food traditions, royal table etiquette, and even how to prepare emergency food in times of war. Only the smartest and most disciplined cooks survived the training. For many, this was a one-way street. They spent their entire lives inside the palace walls, never marrying and never returning home. Their world was the kitchen. Korean royal cuisine wasn't just about tasting delicious, it was scientific. Chefs had to understand food as medicine. They closely monitored the king's health condition and knew exactly which ingredients to use to increase energy, calm, stress, or improve sleep. They also had to prepare dishes to prevent seasonal diseases. For example, samjitang, the famous ginseng chicken soup, was created to restore the king's strength. And bibimbap was originally a meal developed for efficiency and balance during royal travels. Even the condiments were special. Ganjang, or soy sauce, and doenjang soybean paste were aged for years, and only the finest palace-selected batches were ever used for the king's meals. Some recipes were so secret that only 1 or 2 chefs in the entire palace knew the complete formula. One of the most mysterious stories tells of a palace chef known only as Lady Han. During a harsh winter plague, the king became very sick and refused most food. The court doctors were stumped and couldn't find a solution. But Lady Han noticed that the king couldn't digest heavy meals in the cold weather. So she created a warm, mild soup using soft beef bones, radish, garlic, and spring onions. This simple but nourishing broth restored the king's appetite and strength, and many historians believe this dish later inspired silangtang, the famous Korean bone soup we enjoy today. Though she saved the king's life, Lady Han's name never appeared in official records. Her story was only passed down through oral tradition among generations of kitchen workers. Being a palace chef was not just hard work, it was dangerous. If the king disliked a meal, the chef could be punished. If the king became sick, even for unrelated reasons, the entire kitchen could be investigated. Worst of all, the kitchen was often a target for political enemies. Poisoning attempts, bribery, manipulation, and the stealing of secret recipes were constant threats. For this reason, palace chefs took loyalty oaths, and every ingredient was checked multiple times before it reached the king's table. Some chefs even tasted the dish first, not for flavor, but to prove it wasn't poisoned, putting their own lives on the line with every meal. Even though their names were forgotten, the work of these palace chefs shaped modern Korean cuisine in profound ways. Many of today's most famous dishes, like kimchi, the royal hot pot called sinsialo, yakwa desserts, tteok rice cakes, naengmyeon, and all the wonderful banchan side dishes, have their roots in the royal kitchen. The beautiful balance of colors in Korean food, yellow, green, white, black, and red also, comes from the royal nutritional philosophy that these chefs perfected. Even Korean table manners such as the order of dishes and how soups are served were all refined by these anonymous palace cooks. Their influence is everywhere. Despite their immense importance, the palace chefs left behind almost no written records. They had no freedom, no recognition, and no rewards for their lifelong dedication. But without them, Korean royal cuisine would not exist as we know it today. Their stories remind us that history is not only made by kings and generals, but also by the quiet, dedicated hands that fed them. And today, we hope we've helped bring their forgotten legacy back to life. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into Korea's hidden history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories like this. See you next time.